to look at some of the talking points emerging from last week. And ahead of tonight is former Watford striker, our very own Troy Deeney. Hi, Troy.
Hello guys, how you doing? Nice to see you, bro.
Yeah, good to see you. Yeah. Now you're very candid. You're very upfront. You're not mealy mouthed like many a pundit. So I'm sure you're quite impressed by Tuchel. He's not messing about, is he? I mean, he said I was a bit surprised at stuff I said about Marcus and Phil. Foden and Rashford. Everybody got a bit upset about it. So I'm not saying anything different to you than I don't say to them. I'm just being upfront and I'm being honest. And I'm thinking, well, that's not true of a lot of managers. So it's quite refreshing, really. We're always going to know where he stands.
Yeah, it might mean I might get another job at some point. No, I genuinely think it is. I think it's really refreshing. You want to know where you stand as a player, and as someone who's watching it, you want to be able to understand what the manager's thinking. I think when you listen to the things he said about Marcus and Phil, you would argue that these are the things we all knew going into the game. Mm-hmm. Phil hasn't had the best season so far. Marcus has done it in spits and spurts. I was with Dion Dublin yesterday, and I was talking to him, and I said it's a sad state of affairs, but with Marcus we have to say he's running around and he's trying, and we see that as a positive.
That's true.
That's a sorry indictment on where his career's gone, because he's clearly a talented boy, but when we say, he's running around and he's trying, it's like, thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
It's a minimum, isn't it? A couple of times as well, he sort of not pulled out of the tackle, but didn't, go home.
He doesn't have that. You've probably been there. There are times in a player's career where you don't feel that confident, and you have to. I mean, the way he plays when he's at his best, he has to have a bit of swagger about him. I mean, he doesn't really have that at the moment, does he?
Again, confidence is an individual thing, isn't it? I would think to have the ability that he has and the opportunities that he's had, what more confidence does he need? The reason he's been picked in this England team is based on what he did before.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you ask everybody, he's been the reason Aston Villa have been great since January. I would strongly disagree with that. So what more confidence does he need?
Yeah, I mean, he starts him, for goodness sake. That is a real seal of approval, for both of them, really, who have not had great domestic seasons. So to say to both of them, OK, I'm giving you a chance.
It's not really Foden's position, that is. He's not really a winger.
The trouble is, I mean, he's been saying, hasn't he, that, look, we've got this surfeit of 10s. We've got all these 10s. Not everybody can play 10, so people have either got to fit into another system or they're not going to be picked.
Yeah, and I thought it was a huge indictment on Jude Bellingham and where Jude's going to play. I think he obviously spoke a lot about him. It seems, I said this last summer, I feel that you need to make a statement and say, I don't know, Jude's a number 10 or Phil's a number 10 or Cole Palmer's a number 10, and the rest of the team will have to figure themselves out to align to get the best out of that player. He sees Jude as that person. Obviously he plays for Real Madrid, used to winning things, and has a high standard that he expects to deliver. So the rest, unfortunately, will have to fit in. We've had this luxury for years. It's not new to this England team. How many times did Steven Gerrard miss out because Lampard and Scholes played, or vice versa? It's just one of those things where we always try to get the best players in and not arguably make the best team, and that's what we need to do now.
And Rashford's going to get another chance tonight, probably, because Gordon's gone home with an injury. So he could well get another start this evening. And based on what the manager said, I wouldn't say it's last chance saloon, but he's going to have to do better than he did on...
He's got to show intent.
Yeah. I mean, let's hope he can, rise to the occasion.
It's a sad thing to say, because it's very difficult for Marcus to look good against that Albania team, because they were very deep, wasn't they?
Yeah.
But what they did do was give him a lot of ball where he could run at people. And I didn't think he looked great in the 1v1 situation. As you say, he'll probably play again tonight. He's in a difficult situation, Marcus. And again, people have been giving me a load of abuse thinking I've got a personal vendetta against him. And honestly, I don't really care at all. But when you look at, if he does well tonight against Latvia and scores a hat-trick, it's, oh my God, Marcus is back. And now he has to try and stay to that standard. And if he doesn't do well, the rest of us go, well, he shouldn't have been in the team anyway because he hasn't done enough. So he's in a no-win situation. But I just think, I don't know how many more chances we're going to give him as a young man to go and be in the... Stop talking about potential. When are you going to show us consistently who and what you are? Yeah. Or are we in a situation now where he has showed us who and what he is? On his day, he's excellent. He just doesn't have that many days.
It's possible.
Declan Rice was talking ahead of this game, talking about maybe being a bit more demanding on the pitch. I mean, it seems like, they all get on very well. They're a good bunch of lads. Everybody mixes. There's no kind of factions within the group. But he says, I get on with everybody, but sometimes I'm a bit too nice. Definitely it's a role Thomas has asked me to take on, just to maybe be a bit more uncomfortable with each other on the pitch, which is probably a good thing, isn't it? I mean, you can leave that on the pitch, and there's no reason why you can't separate that from what happens off the pitch.
It's cringing to hear, honestly, cringing to hear, because you're playing football and the aim of the game is to win. So you can be friends off the pitch, you can be friends when you win, you can be friends in disagreements. But if we don't win and win to a level that we're expected to be, I'm allowed to say, "Oi, do better," and you are allowed to say, "Troy, effing score." And if you don't, and afterwards you win and no one cares. And this, I think, again, this group of players are so talented and are extraordinary. But the demands and the expectation between the groups, when you see it in the Premier League and you see it now, it's like, oh, we're all friends and we're all asking for shirts and we all want to do all these weird and wonderful things. How about just go out and be who you are? Declan is a actual lovely guy, but he came up in a West Ham team that had Mark Noble. Mark Noble would have held him to account. Yeah. So he's seen it and he's done it. But the problem is, it's not natural for these people. And why do you think everyone watches Roy Keane now?
Yeah.
Because everything he says is what we're all thinking.
No, that's very true.
We're going to ask you, players who are left behind, players who don't make the international squads, what's that period like? I mean, do you get a lot of time off? Is training pretty reduced? I mean, it must be quite a strange period.
Many moons ago, it was a wonderful time. You get nearly the whole week off. You can take the kids away, and some lads would go and have a few beers and enjoy themselves. But I think now it's broken down. Instead of the 5-day week, I think it's a long weekend. So you play Saturday, you'll have Sunday, Monday off. You come back in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then you'll have 3 or 4 off that way. Depends on what it is. I think Ruben Amorim spoke about it in that interview with Gary Neville, didn't he? When he first came in, saying that Marcus and the guys had travelled too far, he won't allow that now. But in that time, it is, if you've been playing a lot, you're trying to do as little training as possible. You're just trying to maintain and tick over. It's normally the fun time as well. But if you're then a few guys who haven't been playing, they normally try and kick people and show everybody that they should be playing for the next Premier League game. So, yeah, it's a weird time because you're trying to push yourself without getting injured.
And do they bring some of the academy kids in just to train to sort of make up the numbers for you as well?
Yeah, they're the worst ones. They're all keen as, and they're trying to impress. I'm like, steady on, lads. It's our time to relax. But just the ego kicks in, doesn't it? You don't want to let anybody win, and that's why I go back to that earlier point with Declan Rice. It's like you've seen it now, and the Arsenal boys should be so angry internally. Yes, they've moved the club exponentially forward, and yes, they're challenging all the time, but you're not getting over the hump. So maybe you have to look at yourself and go, well, what do I need to do differently? And that's clearly the thing. Be a little bit nastier.
Yeah. Troy, we'll catch up with you next week. All the best. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Jez. Thank you.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.